Hey, welcome to the channel. We hope that you enjoy today's stories and check out the chapters on the video to see all the stories for today. But before we get into this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to get notified when we release a new video. So let's get into the video.
Texas Demon House? Okay, guys, I lived in this house for about 7 years, and I have a lot of stories from it, so sorry if this is long. I have ADHD, so I tend to ramble, but I'm going to keep it chronological and as structured as I can. Let me know if you want a part 2. Some background info. This is in a small town in central Texas. The house is 1 story, 3 bedroom, 2 bath with a front and back living room, a nice sized backyard with a palm tree, a gazebo, and a shed converted into a bar. It was right across the street from a Catholic church/cemetery, and after we moved out we found out the property used to be an orphanage in the 1960s that shut down because before that it was a funeral home with a crematorium, but the orphanage was used to dispose of the bodies of the malnourished/abused children living there. Me and my immediate family, were initially hired to clean up the house after the previous tenants trashed it. By trashed, I mean trashed. The carpet when we cleaned it was a light beige color, but it started out black. There were human-sized holes in the walls as if someone was slammed repeatedly all through the house. Dead chickens and other small animals were all over the floor along black candles, pentagrams on the walls and floor, and some mystery blood smeared on the back closet of the master bedroom. How'd we feel comfortable enough moving in after all we found? Well, when it was cleaned up it was a really nice place, and the rent was only $450 a month. We should have known just based on the low rent. First incident, it was our first day in the house. I had most of my stuff in already, so my parents told me to wait at the new house while they went to our old house with my siblings to get more stuff. I decided to take a nap after putting a few things on my dresser. In the center of the dresser, I put a Mary candle my mom had given me. Might be important to note that the most satanic stuff was found in the master bedroom, which had a walk-in closet, dressing room, and its own bathroom. This room became my room because everyone else was too scared to even set foot in it, including my parents. The whole 7 years we lived there, the only time anyone else but me set foot in the room was before we moved in while we were cleaning the house. My little brother got the middle bedroom, and my little sister got the room next to his at the end of the hall next to the other bathroom, and my parents opted to turn the back living room into their bedroom. After arranging my stuff on the dresser, I lay on my bed to take a nap while waiting for my family to return with more stuff. Not 2 minutes after I shut my eyes, the candle slid off the right side of the dresser to the floor with a thud. I was a little freaked out, but as I was by myself, I tried not to. So I tried rationalizing it, saying it was the wind or my dresser is crooked or slanted. I checked the dresser by pulling it away from the wall a smidge and putting a ball in the center to see if it rolled, and it didn't. Then I checked all the doors and windows to make sure there wasn't a draft or something. I put the candle back in the center and laid back down. Not a minute or so after I shut my eyes, the candle slid off the left side, this time like someone was sliding it, and fell. I said nope, and ran outside and waited on the porch until my family got back. When they questioned why I was outside because it was summer, and Texas is hellishly hot in summer, I replied that I wanted some fresh air and sun, trying to play it off so they wouldn't think I was crazy. Second incident, this was after we had been living there for a few months. I was asleep in my room with the door open because it made me feel better, and the rest of my immediate family were gathered in my sister's room down the hall telling each other ghost stories as it was close to Halloween. My mom said something along the lines of,
"Y'all better stop saying that stuff before something happens."
Right after she said that, my door slammed shut and I started screaming. Side note, when I was younger, I used to sleep talk or walk a lot, especially if there was paranormal activity in the house, as this wasn't the last time we lived in a haunted house, unfortunately. My mom urged my stepdad to go check on me, but he just said,
"You go freaking check on her."
So eventually, they both came to check on me. They said once they opened the door, they saw me sitting up in bed with my eyes open but glassy and not focused on anything. I kept saying.
Get off me, help!
They were too scared to enter the room, so from the door they switched on the light and said,
Get out!
At that moment they said a black cloud lifted off me and I fell back in bed with my eyes closed fast asleep. Then they freaking left me there because they were too scared and told me about it in the morning. I knew they weren't lying because the dream I had the night before matched up with what they were saying, and they both looked kind of pale when they were telling me. Scaredy cat jerks leaving me in there.
If you're enjoying today's video about stories of our lives, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this and more. Now, let's get back to the video.
I was woken up and saw a small creature. So, I've told my friends and family this story and they just look at me like I'm crazy. I ended up telling my wife when we were moving out of the house that this happened in. I lived in Nevada with my wife in a newly constructed house that was 3 floors. The master bedroom was on the 3rd floor and there was no door up to the master floor, it was just open. Like a loft, but it was a full-sized area, not a converted attic or anything. This is pretty common in NV so that they can squeeze as many thin taller houses in a lot as possible. Anyway, one night about a month into moving into the house we were both asleep. I wake up in the middle of the night around 2-4ish and see all the way to the other side of the room a little creature. All black. I couldn't make out any features or eyes or anything, but it was small. Maybe 2 feet tall and had 2 arms and legs like a person but was wider and didn't move like a person. It was unnaturally fast. It ran quickly to the edge of the bed and then I could tell it was looking right at me. I could move and I very consciously remember thinking, "Ugh, I do not have time for this." I remember it peered over the mattress and had a longer nose. But for some reason, it was not able or allowed to get on the bed. I watched it for about 10 seconds, then was like, okay, if it can't get up, I'm just going to roll over. So, I rolled over and nothing else happened that night. This is a pretty anticlimactic story, I know. But that's what happened to me that night. I never saw anything in that house again except for that one night. I was definitely awake, and I could move though, so it was not sleeping paralysis. I've had that once and that is much worse and terrifying. Just wondering if there's a name for what I saw or if anyone else has had anything similar happen to them.
The most terrifying siren mimic that we heard at 3 a.m. This happened a couple of weeks ago. My mom witnessed it and so did my dog, otherwise I would chalk it up to a hallucination or my mind playing tricks on me. I live with my mom and we both stay up really late at night. We were up past 3 a.m., this was probably around 3:20 when we heard police sirens outside down the street. Now this is a fairly normal occurrence, even sometimes at that hour, so there was nothing weird about that. But then, in between, it was suddenly cut with this horrifying, ungodly noise that I don't even know how to explain. If I had to describe it, I would say it was like something outside was mimicking the sirens in a way that was very wrong somehow. I know it wasn't a dog howling, it was nothing like that. My dog heard it and immediately started growling. This thing had no semblance to anything we had ever heard before. It was an uncanny moaning wail that sounded almost human but somewhat animal at the same time, yet not enough of either to make it familiar in any sense. Basically, as though a warped, distorted voice was attempting to impersonate the sound of police sirens, combined with an almost pain-sounding cry. We heard it repeat about 2 or 3 times, then it abruptly stopped and there was just silence. I'm quite learned with animal calls and the area we live in is somewhat rural, so I've heard my fair share of creatures out there. I know the disturbing noises that mountain lions, foxes, and bobcats can make. So, I mean it when I say that this was straight up the most terrifying, chilling sound that we have ever heard. My mom is generally a very skeptical person, but we've had quite a few strange occurrences where we live, not in our house, but in the surrounding areas, including seeing multiple black shadow figures around, disappearing people, animal corpses and remains arranged in odd manners, etc. Lots of flickering lights and bad electricity, which I realize is likely nothing paranormal at all, but it can still create an unnerving atmosphere at times. This experience left both of us incredibly spooked because of how unnatural it was. I don't know what it could have been, but all I know is that it wasn't an animal or a human, and it definitely wasn't part of the sirens. Edit. Not comfortable giving out the exact location, but I will tell you we live in the Ozarks if that means anything.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to see more videos about stories of our lives. Click on one of these videos to watch more and see you soon.